How's everybody doing out there? So my next step on the journey to fixing this car, or at least getting it as good as I can, it needs a duty C solenoid, which is found on the inside of this tail shaft housing here on the back of the automatic transmission. There's not really any good videos on the internet about how to take this off and service what you need to service and putting it back together. So I'm gonna try to shoot a video. I've never done this job before. There's a write-up on some forums on the internet if you Google search it. And then there's like, I found a couple of videos on YouTube about, basically when they've already had the tail shaft housing off and have installed a new solenoid, the valve body, and, but not really any like showing what you have to do to get to it, and all that. I've already started the job, so just to kind of catch everyone up, I removed the drive shaft, and the Forester has a carrier bearing that it goes right here in the middle. And then of course you have 4 bolts, 4 nuts. Those are 12 millimeter down there. Got 14 millimeters here. And then the cross member that runs across the underside of the car and where the transmission mount attaches to, these are all 14 millimeter fasteners. Of course, the exhaust is out of the way, the heat shield's gone, simply because I'm doing other things to the car as well. And this is kind of one of those, while you're in there type of repairs. But my car experiences shuddering when you're turning any direction tightly in a parking lot or going slow. So I know the duty C solenoid needs to be replaced, and I'm going to attempt the job here. It's also a good time to go ahead and replace your snout seal if you need to. This one wasn't leaking, and surprisingly it actually looks pretty new. So makes me wonder if that's had that job done before recently. I've got a new seal anyway, so I'll probably just put a new one in it once I get it out. Some of the next things you're going to need to do, really the only electrical thing you're going to have to worry about is the speed sensor right here, and it's held in with a 10 millimeter. And it should just come right out. And the rear O2 sensor, it's connected to a bracket which is bolted down with one of the bolts that attaches the tail shaft housing. I'm not going to remove that connector from the bracket. I'm just going to unbolt it and just sort of let it hang or lay it to the side somewhere. And then the rest of it's just loosening all the bolts all the way around and fighting the gasket. It's a paper gasket, and it's probably not going to be very fun. I'll probably have to use my pry bar in a couple of areas. I know there's dowel pins as well, so it'll also make this difficult. But we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to pause this and go ahead and spin these bolts out and take the sensor out of the way, and see if I can't get this thing out. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled all the bolts out and dropped the transmission mount. The speed sensor on the other side over here, I believe it's that bolt. It's also got a bracket, so I actually took that bolt first, followed by the one below it that had the rear O2 sensor. Went ahead and just dropped those, and now they're hanging. None of these bolts are really all that hard to get to. I've got a kind of a wobble extension and just a deep well 12mm 6-point. I chose to use an air tool, so I have an air ratchet. Just kind of made things a little easier and faster. As far as I can tell, there's one dowel there, and then the other one's up there. And I don't believe there are any others. More likely than not, I'm probably going to take some PB Blaster and go ahead and just shoot those and let them soak for a little bit. And I'm going to take a break and go let the dogs out. And then I'll be back.